This is going to be a super quick and dirty, fly by the seat of my pants video with my phone at arm's length and inside my car. No editing, unfortunately, no nothing. I just want to make a video about this while it's still relevant. This just happened. I don't see many people making videos about this. It's E3 2019 right now. Today's the day the show floor opened, and a couple of days ago, Bethesda had their E3 press conference, and they announced a new Commander Keen game. And Commander Keen fans are pissed. Commander Keen hasn't had a PC release since the early 90s, and there was a game on Game Boy Color in 2001, but, that's kind of like a side thing considered by most people. I haven't played it yet. I'd like to someday, but Commander Keen fans are pissed because Commander Keen they kind of explained this in Bethesda's thing, but if you don't know, Commander Keen was one of the first side-scrolling action games on PC that managed to have scrolling without, split screens and things like that. If you compare the PC DOS version of Mega Man compared to the NES version, that's a comparison of what side-scrolling action jumping games were like on PC as compared to home consoles at the time. It's not like today where PCs are always necessarily more advanced in every department. Back then, to have a scrolling game like Commander Keen was a huge technical breakthrough in programming on id Software's behalf. I'm probably one of the younger people around who actually played this in the early 90s, being, I got it traded on, copied floppy disks as shareware. The main enemies in the first three Commander Keen games are these, goofy, bipedal dog aliens, which inspired goofy bipedal dog aliens with big floppy ears. In my work, my icon on YouTube is myself as one of these things that I created based on, inspired by these enemies in Commander Keen. So Commander Keen's been with me a long time. I've cared about it. I'd love to see new games, but Commander Keen fans are pissed because it's going to be a mobile game. Now, there's a huge bias against mobile, to an extent rightfully so, but categorically, with not even considering what the game itself is like, people, if you say it's on mobile, they just dismiss it. And to me, the ideal platform for Commander Keen obviously would have been on PC. If not PC, home console, especially Nintendo Switch, which is the only current home console I have, but certainly PC. But it's going to be a mobile game. But what's 1,000 times worse, what ruins it for me, and what ruins it for most Keen fans, is that the gameplay has nothing to do with what made Commander Keen, famous. It's not a side-scrolling action platformer. What it is, it looks to be a slow-paced drag-and-drop game where you're setting traps with a touchscreen and assembling gadgets with a touchscreen and setting them up to get through these stages. It looks slow-paced, not an action platformer at all. And on top of that, it's going to be microtransaction based. It's a free-to-play game. Even some free-to-play games can be somewhat reasonable. If you just. But this is not what we wanted. It looks, the way it's set up, it doesn't look like one of those reasonable free-to-play games. It looks like it's something that's going to try to nickel and dime you and exploit you. And even if it was an exploitative game where they nickel and dime you, it's not even a platformer. The idea of assembling gadgets is appropriate for Commander Keen in terms of the nature of the characters in the world. It's about a boy genius who assembles gadgets and spaceships and goes around the galaxy having adventures. So the idea of assembling gadgets isn't a bad idea for this universe, but it seems to be done as an excuse for microtransactions, and it seems to be done as a replacement for having action platforming gameplay, which is what Commander Keen is famous for. This is the equivalent of if the last Super Mario Brothers game came out, the last Super Mario game was Super Mario World on Super Nintendo, and they just announced the first Mario game since then in 2019, and it's a puzzle game, a microtransaction game for smartphones. This is like if Half-Life 3 was announced exclusively as for smartphones as a microtransaction puzzle game, and this is a kind of akin to Diablo Immortal. But the situation with Diablo Immortal is totally different to me, because Diablo Immortal, they knew from the moment they announced it that people were pissed, some to an extent irrationally so, but Diablo Immortal was known from the beginning that this is a side thing. This is not the future of the franchise. This is not a replacement for a true successor to the mainline Diablo franchise. Whereas with Commander Keen on smartphones, this is the only content we've gotten since 2001, the only content on its native platform, that being PC, since the early 90s. I mean, I don't know, actually, there were later Commander Keen games in, like, up to, like, 95 or something. I only played the original 3, which were very early 90s. I held off on playing the later Commander Keen games because I like to play them on stream someday. The thing that really frustrates me is that there was a concept video which sort of showed their idea for what a modernized Commander Keen universe would be like, where the artwork and the presentation style, I think, was excellent in a way to modernize the game. There are so many Easter eggs and references in that video that only passionate Commander Keen fans would even think to include in a video about Commander Keen, you know, animating it in the style of, like, the intro to a late 90s, early 2000s Saturday morning cartoon. So to have that level of passion put into reinterpreting the Commander Keen universe in terms of the presentation and the style and the attitude, only for the gameplay to have nothing to do with what made the series endearing to the fans of it, is really disappointing. So I'm still delighted that Commander Keen's back in any form. I'm still heartbroken that it looks like it's going to be a microtransaction cash-in that has nothing to do with the gameplay that Commander Keen is famous for. And what the real pickle that Commander Keen fans are in right now is that if this game flops, and the thing is, even for a mobile game, it doesn't look impressive. It looks like the gameplay looks like a Newgrounds game from 2001. Okay, and a non especially exciting looking one. And the problem Commander Keen fans are in right now is that when this game comes out, looking the way it does now, and Commander Keen fans don't go for it, there's a chance that Bethesda's going to see this and think, oh, Commander Keen isn't popular, Commander Keen isn't profitable, let's never touch this franchise again,